Parents of Reddit, what is the weirdest, most shocking thing you have found in your child's room? A Playboy taped to the underside of his mattress. So if you lifted the mattress you wouldn't directly see it. As the mother of a 19-year-old male, I wish I could upvote your kid. My much younger sister, 8 or so at the time, had little plastic bags filled with hair clippings from our assorted pets, neatly labeled with names. She said they were for her art projects. Unrelated. She also had one stuffed animal called Baby Meow that she was really fond of. Baby Meow popped her seam and ended up losing some stuffing. So she took this cheap stuffed bear she had and took some of its stuffing to make the repairs. Totally normal. Less normal? Hollowing out the bear's detached head and removing the eyes so Baby Meow could use it as a mask. That was a trip to find. My mom found a jelly jar full of mysterious panties hidden in my brother's closet. That was his conquest jar. I do not know why, but my 8-year-old has taped a mustard packet to his door and labeled it top secret. One day you should both just walk into his room and sit on his bed beside him. Then quietly open with "We know about the mustard" and see what happens. My 8-year-old son had a folded up note in his drawer that said "My future" on the outside. On the inside there was a line down the middle. One side, CIA. Other side, janitor. Edit. He's still 8. I only found this note a few weeks ago. When I was in college, I got a panicked phone call from my sibling. Apparently my mom was looking for my passport, rifling through my room, and came across a large baggie of white powder she assumed to be cocaine. She continues to search and found a man thong in the empty box to a vibrator. She put all this together in her head and logically concluded I was, in her words, selling my sweet ass for coke. Full stop. She proceeded to call my siblings in hysterics. First off, the bag she found was chalk powder left over from a high school art project. So not even remotely similar to coke. Second, the man thong was a gag gift that I hadn't gotten rid of. Third, the vibrator was for my GF and I had no idea then box was still in my room. To this day, 10 years later, my siblings love to ask me how selling my sweet ass for coke is going. TLDR. Mom found chalk powder, a gag gift and an empty box for my girlfriend's vibrator and assumes that I'm a man warray for coke. Edit. Phone related typos fixed. I was the only girl and the oldest kid in my family. I had my own room and my brothers shared a room. When I was about 15-17 all of my clothes would go missing. I would buy a shirt, bras, dresses etc, wear them once and they would be gone. It drove me insane. And there would be no trace. Last year my mom told me she found the bags, sometimes soaking wet, filled with my clothes, hidden under my brother's bed and even some in the back of the outside garage and dug into the lawn. Just weird. None of my brothers has ever confessed, but my mom thinks my youngest brother, now gay and we love him, would wear my clothes in the shower and not want to get caught and hide the evidence. She said she still finds them. It was a lot of clothes and as a teenage girl I would go insane. She didn't tell me until I was older so I wouldn't embarrass or hurt his feelings, which in retrospect we all my rage hormones I may have done. I was cleaning my 8-year-old stepson's bedroom because it was overrun by toys. When I got to the closet where it seemed he liked to toss toys in an attempt to clean his room himself, I was hit with a horrid smell. I grabbed everything out of there. Toys, dirty clothes and came across a paper grocery bag crumpled up. I was afraid to open it as that was where the smell was coming from. I opened it to find a wadded up pair of underwear caked in dried tea. The smell was so intense I ran to the bathroom to vomit. I never said anything to him about it as he clearly had an accident and was trying to hide it. When I was in high school my stepdad found my vibrator while I was at school one day. I came home to find it under my pillow, wrapped in tinfoil. I never asked what was up with that and I intend to never do so. Why would it be wrapped in tinfoil? Well, this is confusing and hilarious. My 5-year-old pooped behind her bed. It didn't smell. So we didn't find it until it had already hardened. You don't wanna pick them up until they've hardened anyway. I'd happily pick up a hard turd with my bare hands if it meant I didn't have to handle a warm, squishy, soft turd at all. A friend of mine relayed this to me. She had ordered some lube off the internet. She has allergies and wanted to try something new, and there was a mix-up in the order. She was charged for the lube, but ended getting in the mail the Great American Challenge. If you don't want to Google it, it's an absolutely huge purple DLDO. She wrote to the company asking WTF was up, and they responded with, "Oh man. Our bad. Keep the DLDO as our gift to you. We'll send you the correct product ASAP." Well, my friend decided she'd keep the challenge to give out as a gag gift, but nobody ever wanted to keep it. Eventually, she put it in a drawer in her room and forgot about it. Couple months later, her mom was in her room and straightening up. And lo and behold, the Great American Challenge. According to my friend, her mom's reaction was essentially, "I don't blame you for getting S or AIDS. But don't you think it's a little much? Huge purple DLDO. Gag gift. I see what you did there." I found $200 in my son's room once when he was like 9. I was really worried about where he'd gotten it for a while. Did you ever find out how? I literally found shit on the ceiling. This kid's is not even 2 yet. I did not sign up for this shit. The worst thing I ever discovered in my kid's room was my, then, 6-year-old and 3-year-old daughters sitting on the bed with every single strand of their hair laying on the floor along with a pair of school safety scissors. Coke cans. Dozens of them in a drawer. He'd been stealing them from the kitchen and drinking them in secret. He wasn't smart enough to get rid of the evidence though. God, I always used to do this with the little bags of chips. But I couldn't just throw away the bags. Mum would see. So 10-year-old me hid them anywhere I could in my room for several years. Underneath my bed. In the closet. Behind my bookcase. A few in every drawer of my desk. I thought it was incredibly smart and nobody would ever know. That is until we were moving 2 years later and my parents helped pack my stuff. I think it was a silky negligee. She was maybe 8 at the time. My wife is a dab hand with a needle, and instead of a friend of hers having to return the item, she said she'd repair it. It was a brand new thingy. I don't know. Anyway, at some point we realized it wasn't where it was supposed to be and it was worth some amount of money, and we were all freaking out that we'd have to cover the cost of it. Daughter must have found it at some point. Snuck off with it and for some unknown reason decided to wad it into a ball and cram it deep underneath her bed, instead of putting it back where it came from. Kid logic. I remember thinking like that. I shouldn't have taken this. But if I put it back, everyone will know I took it. Better crumple it up and throw it under the bed and this whole thing will blow over and it will never be brought up again. I was involved in a prank war one time and my friend thought it would be hilarious if he brought a blow up doll to my house. Waited until I went to the bathroom. Blew it up and stuffed it under my bed. I never look under there. So I didn't notice until I was rearranging my room and my dad helped me move my bed. Neither one of my parents have let me live it down to this day. This was about 4 years ago. That is both devious and incredibly funny. I may have to do that to a friend of mine. A poop wall. He was 5 or 6 and apparently wasn't wiping well in the bathroom. So at night laying in bed, I guess he was scratching an itchy bumhole and wiping his fingers on the wall next to the bed. Oh god. The gags. My brother had a booger wall when he was 7 or 8. Just behind his bed. There were hundreds of boogers all stuck to the wallpaper, forming a weird abstract pointillist painting. I'm not sure my parents ever found out, though, since I was past the age when ratting out your little brother is the most exquisite feeling in the world. Not my room but my older brother's. Several tubs of margarine. For a few months my mom couldn't figure out why all of her tubs of margarine were missing. Whenever she went to cook, One day she was playing find the smell in my brother's room. He was 14, so this was a risky game. She found the smell as well as a dozen or so tubs of margarine. That's not even the messed up part. Most of the smell came from rotting insects and small animals. Lizards and reptiles. No mammals. His only reasoning was that he heard from a teacher that margarine was practically poisonous plastic and should never be ingested. He then would capture or kill bugs and put them in the tubs to make sure they were dead. This is the same brother that robbed our next door neighbor and left his backpack there with all his school work. He also stole a bike, then tried returning it to the same spot as the guy was talking to the police. He honestly told the cop that he only cut the lock to borrow it and somehow thought that would be okay. He's not a bright man. Poop. Poop everywhere. She's 2.5. When I woke up and went up to her room, she was already awake, smearing poop on the walls, floor, window, pillows, everywhere. Thank God she didn't leave her room. She took a dump on the floor and also stepped in it, making poopy footprints all over the place. That was this past Monday. One more reason to hate Mondays. When I was 17, my father walked into my room while I was still asleep. I worked graveyard that summer and it was about 11:00 AM and was looking for a CD one had borrowed from him. He didn't find the CD, but he did find my vibrator. I opened my eyes to find my father holding my neon orange vibrator. We made eye contact. Terrible. Terrible eye contact. And never spoke of it again. Twist. A sealed block of cheese and a spoon. She was 2 and apparently had gotten hungry but couldn't figure out how to get at the good stuff. My sister said she went to wake up my 8-year-old nephew for school and noticed he was completely naked in bed. So she goes to the bathroom to flush the toilet. BC he's afraid to at night, and she opened the door to a disaster zone. Turned out he got sick during the night and he told her he didn't know if he should sit down to poop or stand to throw up. She said it looked like he spun in circles as tea and vomit projected out of him like The Exorcist. Her description of spending 2 hours scraping tea off the wall with her fingernails made me not want kids ever, lol. One time a bunch of my wife and I's condoms went missing. I didn't think much of it. I just figured I had misplaced them. About 3 weeks later I was in my son's room when I noticed an absolutely putrid smell. It seemed to be coming from his open window. I slowly and cautiously approached. The smell became stronger, until I was literally gagging. I could not take it anymore. I peeked my head out the window. There it was. Tacked to the wood framing right underneath the roof was a line of more than 15 slimy blue condoms. Each one was stuffed. Absolutely full. Of every shape, texture, and color of tea. They were all stuffed so full that there is no way he didn't get his hands dirty shoving it all in there. I had to confront him about it. He told me he was making wind chimes. WTF. Not a parent. But my mom walked in on me digging not 1 but 2 holes in my bedroom wall, adjacent to outside. I was about 7. My plan was to make myself a makeshift walkout patio. This, I thought, would grant me quick access to our backyard, which in turn would give me an unlimited supply of crab apples. We had 1 crab apple tree in our yard and it was prime harvesting season. I used scissors and cutlery for digging. Specifically a butter knife and a spoon. I had the holes to about 3 inches in diameter when my close friend had enough and decided to put an end to my escapade. The hole never got deeper than the 1 layer of drywall. I still remember my mom walking in and asking me why my back was to the wall, arms out to my sides. I was frantically attempting to cover up the damage because I hadn't finished yet. And it was to be a surprise. Classic. TL. DR. Dug a hole in my bedroom wall like a convict. Didn't get very far. My brother always ordered weird stuff. Cardboard tube sculptures. Tissue boxes. Boards with nails. A giant blue bunny. A gorilla suit. We were often terrified to go in this room or around back where we'd find any silverware or plates he'd use thrown out the window. When my stepson was 12, I went to put his coat away that he had left on the hall floor. Again, in his closet, and noticed something in the back of the closet hidden under a pile of clothes. A tuba. After a brief talk, wanna talk about having a serial conversation with your kid? We ended up getting him lessons and he had a great HS marching band career. Finding the PRN and the condoms was easy. My wife found them, but made me find them and talk with him. A musical instrument as big as he was. That was just bizarre. This one is one of my favorite stories. Not her bedroom, but still a bit of a surprise. We were having a small get-together at our house when my daughter was about 2.5. It was far past her bedtime, but she'd gotten up to go potty and gone back to bed. Shortly afterwards, anyone who came out of the bathroom was either chuckling or complimenting me on my lovely bathroom decor. Well, we hadn't lived there long. There wasn't any decor. I decided I'd better check the bathroom. Lo and behold, the kid had peeled off the backing and stuck all the maxi pads to every possible surface she could reach. It was truly lovely. Edit. When I was about 12, my mom came across my browser history, which I had no idea how to erase. I was looking at some pretty fked up shit. Even then, thousands upon thousands of raunchy websites. She never looked at me the same after that. I think a part of her died inside that day. When I was 12, I was having a good time on my parents' PC. Totally oblivious to the fact that a window cleaner was working outside, washing the windows. When he came inside for payment, he waited for my mom to leave for a second to get the money, came into the study room with the PC where I was, and asked me if I knew how to delete the browser history. I didn't know, and he quickly learned me how to delete the browser history. To this day, I'm still grateful for that guy. My parents found a piece of cheddar cheese that had turned completely blue and amassed a great amount of hair and mold, wrapped up in a pair of old, dirty underwear in my bedroom. I was 11 years old and I have no idea how it got there. I'm not a parent, but this is something I used to do. My mom used to have tons of different shampoo bottles. I don't know why. 6-year-old me was really interested in all these shampoo bottles. So I would take multiple types of shampoo and mix them together in plastic cups, then leave them around the house. But I didn't just mix them randomly. I measured stuff out, like it was a recipe. I carefully mixed them for a set amount of minutes. I even checked in on different mixes to see how they settled, and compared them to each other. TL. DR. 6-year-old me tried to be a chemist. Edit. Apparently we all like to be chemists and make cool mixtures of household products. I am not alone. A kindergarten student of mine used to carefully pick up rocks from the playground when he thought no one was looking. One day when it was his turn for show and tell, he got up, emptied about 30 rocks out of his pockets and said, "These are my rocks. They are really special." Burped, scratched his bum, sat down, and started humming "Mary Had a Little Lamb." It was all I could do to contain myself. Back in the days of AIM, I used to participate in anime RPS. Really, it was just an excuse for horny girls to roleplay as gay guys. I printed out one particularly spicy 30+ page session in which my character does some twisted S-Zord dominance shit to another character and then accidentally left it beside the printer. By the time I remembered my mistake, it was already gone. They knew what my AIM screen name was, too. To this day I haven't heard anything about it. I was 13. It was also an excuse for horny boys to roleplay as lesbians. Wait. Girls pretending to be guys? What kind of parallel universe f-king internet did you have? My mom found my homemade bong when I was 14/15. I told her it was a bird caller. I don't think she bought it. Bird caller. That's f-king hilarious. Sort of the other way round. When I was 9, I found a massive pink DLDO, a pack of naughty playing cards, and a PRN mag under my mum's bed whilst exploring with friends. Logical next step. Take the PRN mag into school the next day. Little did I know that my nemesis at the time was gonna find it and march around the playground with it held high above her head. And that, kids, is the story of how I had to see a child therapist. Who I told voices commanded me to do it. I'm sorta glad she didn't believe me.